Welcome to the Music of America podcast, where every week we visit a different state in America and meet a different guest in the music industry. Every day, Monday through Friday. We begin in Alabama and we end in Wyoming. I'm your host, Tom Pollard. Let's talk music here on the Music of America. It's Hump Day Season 2 here on the Music of America podcast, still in Alabama. Our guest today, a kind of unique guest, Harry T, and we're going to talk with Harry T in his own unique radio style and the music that he delivers all over the country. I want to tell you about Ed Abdella. He's racing for hope. As a decorated Army Ranger and educator, Ed is the first Mississippian to compete in the race across America. It's the world's toughest cycling race, spanning from the West Coast to the East Coast, about 3,000 miles, and he's going to do it in 12 days. Ed has embarked on this endeavor with one goal: to raise funds for Hope Village for Children. Dubbed a place for children to call home, Hope Village services the entire state of Mississippi as a licensed, nationally accredited residential care agency. You'll hear the theme song of Hope Village written a little later on in this, not on this broadcast, but later on this week here on the Music of America podcast. Anyway, Ed has a goal of raising $1 million for Hope Village for Children. Now, to support this bold and heroic endeavor, we're asking you to please go to www.hopevillagems for Mississippi, Hope Village, Mississippi, hopevillagems.org, and contribute to Ed's Race for Hope. It's a really bold endeavor, 3,000 miles to a very worthy cause, hopevillagems.org. And our guest is Harry T., and I have a list of all your credentials that it would take us half the show to read them off. So.
No worries, man. When you're an old man like me that's been in the music business this long, we have traveled and we have road rash in every part of our bodies, don't we, my brother?
How long have you been doing this, Harry?
Well, stepped on the stage from graduating from college in 1975 in Gulf Shores, Alabama, at the Gulf State Convention Center, and saw the waves rolling in and the music playing on the stage, and I thought that would be the way it would be the rest of my life. Of course, it wasn't.
Surprise.
The next gig was at the Tiki in Goche, and that's when disco came in, and our contract for 3 weeks was interrupted when they changed to disco right in the middle of our contracts.
Oh, wow.
For our band. But the band part of it, you know, as you get older and you have changes in your life, you change the way you're involved in music. I'm a high-energy bass player and singer. And when you have a little cardiac issue or something here and there, and a couple of divorces and stress and all of those things, you find a way to develop a way to contribute in the music business. And I found
without
that.
the anxiety of booking
Absolutely.
and agents and production and
Absolutely. Man. Such a wonderful move. And about the time I had the cardiac issue in 2012, things were happening in the internet world. And 2012, I started experimenting and researching streaming radio stations, and I created one called Radio A1A down in the Florida Keys. What a great place that is, by the way. And everybody comes down US 1 playing music at the Key West Songwriters Festival or somewhere along there. Everybody wants to come play down there.
right.
And so I fell in love with a group of people, ladies and gentlemen, called independent singer-songwriters, because I've never written an original song in my life. I can play most anything, but those people create brand new births and creations every day. And now I am honored to receive at least 20 to 25 songs every morning in my email box. Some go, the other way, but a lot of
whoops.
But, and I use the term, this just isn't radio ready, but I answer each one of them. I answer each songwriter to let them know you can make it radio ready, maybe get somebody else to sing it or change the recording studio, or
The
don't
production qualities. Yeah. Yeah.
don't record it at home, for goodness sakes. You know what I mean?
Well, that's funny because this podcast, the Music of America podcast, the whole concept behind this is that there are people though that are at that level that will set their phone down in the middle of the garage while they're
Yes.
doing their version of Honolulu Boogie punk
Yes.
style, and
Yes.
or a death metal version, and all you hear is Cookie Monster on quaaludes and some thrashing guitars, but they're at that level. And then you'll have the other side of that where a guy will go in and spend an hour and a half just on the oboe piece of his 12-piece instrumentation. You know what I mean?
Love it, love it, love it. And by the way, yes, if they send it to me and they say, "What do you think of this, Harry?" I go, "Well, look, if you do this, 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 and this, and maybe do this, it may be radio ready."
Right.
Without hurting their feelings. Now, sometimes they call me, "Well, you're just a butthole." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're really a mean person. But in this case, when you get 25 of them a day, and I answer everybody, I answer everyone, and these songs get very close to their hearts. I say, "Look at this, man. You have a song. How much did you pay for your guitar? $6,000 Takamine. Well, at least invest $6,000 in your song,
Right.
Or invest the money and the time and the effort to make your song sound really, really, really good." And some of them take the advice and move on, and we move it from a piece that is not quite ready to one that is ready. And these songs have moved from my introductory stations, and I say stations, I've got 4 now, to the point where they're being picked up and crossed over into mainstream radio and over into Spotify and over into the world of, some of these folks are really good. And also some of the folks that are discovering this way to introduce their music in a grassroots first, generation introduction system like what we do. Some of the folks, like the first guy you're going to play, Starbuck, those guys were around in the 70s, and they had a hit called "Moonlight Feels Right."
That's right. Moonlight Feels Right. Yeah.
Giant hit. Well, he's found that the tropical Americana, trop rock, coastal Americana, Gulf and Western sound is something that fits his feeling of the music that he does right now.
Let's go down that. Let's go down that road, because that's one of your. Yes. I call it your own unique radio style. It's tropical Americana.
Yes.
You've got a YouTube channel. You got a couple of radio stations.
Yes.
But it's this tropical Americana that really intrigued me the most. Elaborate on that.
I went to Nashville, and I had an event at the Boardwalk in Nashville, and I said, "We're trop rock music." And all of the blue hairs and all the old school country music people came out to see this new thing called trop rock. And they all said, "This really is interesting. It's wonderful. It's positive. But there's one thing wrong with it. It's got the word rock in it." And I've noticed that Nashville is moving either towards snap tracks, rap, rock, metal. The sounds of Nashville are becoming different than the traditional country sound.
Yeah.
Now they are even calling it more Americana. And I said, well, we'll just put the word tropical in front of Americana and make that happen.
There you go. It's so interesting. The evolution of new sounds are the old sounds with new names.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, what would we call this? I would call this Jimmy Buffett music, rather. I would call this beach music. I would call it surfing music back in the 60s with the Beach Boys and their prevalence, the Safarians and people like that. But yours is a little bit more. It's a little bit more flavor to it. Yes. It's trop rock.
Trop rock, tropical Americana, coastal Americana. Jimmy Buffett called it Gulf and Western music when he got kicked out of Nashville.
Yeah.
and Texas. And he got kicked all the way down to Key West, and the rest is history, is it not?
Right. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen an artist like Jimmy Buffett who has a multi-billion-dollar industry that never had a number one hit? Interesting, huh?
That's bizarre. He
That
didn't
is
hit number
bizarre.
one. He did hit number one with Come Monday. Well, we darn.
Never. He hit Come Monday on Johnny Carson when Johnny Carson said, that's a really good song, and brought him on there, and Come Monday happened. So it's an interesting genre. It's very narrow. There are about 300 to 400 Parrot Head clubs in every part of the United States and across the world that all are fan clubs of Jimmy Buffett. Well, is Jimmy Buffett on any of my stations? Absolutely not. He and I know each other. I'm from Mobile, and so is he. Uh-huh. But he was 6 years older than me in performing, and he never called and sent me a song. The rule is, remember this, the artist, the songwriter must call Harry T. or one of our trop jocks across the country and say, I have a song. We don't take songs from wholesalers, aggregators, record labels, booking agents, management, artists. No, we don't take songs from that area. We take songs directly from the songwriter and the folks from Starbuck. We spoke directly on the phone and communicate by email. Yeah. And all of these artists are closely known by all of us here at the station.
That's so cool, man. That really is. I mean, I deal with some like producers, some distributors, some promoters, whatever. And I'll find somebody that there's a band out of South Carolina I'm just really jazzed about called Dazer. I'm just really in love with these guys. They're up and coming. They have the it factor. You know, they remind me of like earlier Bon Jovi, later Skinner, kind of a country rock flavor, but more of a pop rock, and better than Nickelback type of music. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it's really smooth, really cool, and they're just really together, really sharp kids. Where do they go, man? Where do they go to find people? So I'll say, well, here, contact Doug Deutsch or contact Mark Rosner. You know, but there are musicians that will come across with this trop rock sound. I'll hear it as a trop rock sound, and now I have a place to send them. I can say, hey, check out Harry T. and his tropical Americana. I just love that tropical Americana. That's so cool.
Well, that's interesting you would say that, because a guy from the country charts who was a Academy nominee for Vocalist of the Year, he and I attended a tropical event, a Parrot Head event in Key West. Mm-hmm. And he said, Harry, he said, you could take your station. Radio A1A is such a name. It's trademarked. It could be a commercial station. You could be a commercial success with it. He says, but would you do us a favor? Keep it 100% independent singer-songwriter.
Amen.
And I promised him I would do that, which meant we don't do Jimmy Buffett or Zach Brown or Kenny Chesney. Those guys have tropical music, but they have not picked up the phone. They have not sent us a submission. Now, the guy that originally invented the word trop rock, the words, his name is Bertie Higgins. He is from Tarpon Springs, Florida, and he wrote the song Key Largo.
Oh, for Rupert Holmes, wasn't it? Oh, no. That's the Bogie and Bacall song, right?
Yes, Bogie and Bacall. That's actually him singing it, Bertie Higgins.
Well,
and Bertie's a multi-platinum guy, but he's one of those guys that reached back out, and when he came back from California and moved back to Tarpon Springs, he called me up and said, hey, Harry, be the MC of my welcome home party. So
cool.
He coined the word, not Jimmy Buffett, trop rock, and he is on our radio station because he has submitted his music specifically. And it goes from those individuals who are recognized to individuals, for instance, who are reaching out for the first time. Now, how do they benefit? I had an opportunity at a house concert, and many of them play these house concerts all over the country. And I had an opportunity at midnight after the concert, and I said, okay, how do you get paid? How do you make this happen? Where's the monetization coming from? I said, I'm sure your streaming income at 0.23 cents per stream is making you rich, right? I'm sure your downloads are really making you rich. And the guy just shaking his head, and I said, what's happening here? He said, Harry, he says, when I played in California and the people were mouthing my words out there, they did it because of your radio station. And you know why I was playing out there? Because they booked me and they paid me a lot of money to be there. And he says, it's the personal appearances. He says, I'm up to $750 a night and I'm a single. I said, what? And that was 3-4 years ago. I'm sure he's way up there now. And he plays about 50 gigs a year, maybe more. So does that make you a living? You better dadgum well believe it.
Well, it's not just that. And I learned this actually in the National Hockey League years ago. And I've said the story several times, but I'm a big hockey fan. St. Louis Blues, grew up in St. Louis. And when Mike Keenan won a Stanley Cup for the New York Rangers as a coach, he came to St. Louis. One of the first things they did, the St. Louis Blues, now Blues, right? Put this gigantic red stripe across their jersey. I mean, it's like half the jersey. Ugly, ugly, ugly to me. But that gave them a revenue stream because they weren't getting TV money like they're getting in the National Hockey League now. So you had to make money however you made money. And
absolutely,
I remember so distinctly a hockey writer said, it's all about selling T-shirts. And as much of a joke as that was, that transcends so many business or so many things in the entertainment industry. I mean, an artist can make $750 a show, sure. But he really is going to make his money when he's selling the CDs. Well, you don't buy those anymore. You're not making it if you're selling, what is it? You're going to sell, you got to get like 10,000 downloads on some of these streaming platforms to make $100. They make their money selling shirts, selling stickers, selling vinyl.
One of these retreads, I call them retreads, that send me some of the music is a guy named Michael Monarch.
Yeah.
Does that name sound familiar to you? Have you ever heard the song "Born to Be Wild"? Magic Carpet Ride.
Oh yeah. One of the first albums I bought was Monster.
He also was on Suki Sue. He wrote that song. He is the guitar player for Steppenwolf.
Right.
And he formed a little group, just a duo, and he programs everything in his studio. And they perform in Florida under the name the Peyton Monarch Band. And they wrote 5 original tropical American songs and sent them to me. And he stood on the stage one night at one of our events and said, "Oh, you see this CD right here?" He says, "It's an old-fashioned CD." He says, "I'm going to sign this for you. You take this CD to what is it? And sell it online." He says, "I'm going to sell it to you for $20. You can get $35 for it in an instant." So he sold out of his CDs. So a CD is something that nobody has. You can't even play them in your car anymore, but you can sign them. They become a piece of. There you go.
See, when we go see music, we go see a musician. I buy whatever.
Yeah,
and I actually have an old enough car that I got a CD player.
There you go.
I can play 6 CDs in my car at a time.
Me too.
SUV or CRV rather. But we've got a CD player, multi-deck CD player here at the house, and I've got vinyl. I buy vinyl from the artists, because that's how these guys make their money.
Well, he's Michael Monarch. He is a living legend standing there. And when he plays that Telecast, he's one of the top 5 Telecaster players in the world. So these are the kind of individuals that perform high quality, technical, well-versed, well-written people that are the best at what they do. And they're sticking their toe into this genre. And it's just wonderful. I'll tell you a story about T-shirts, too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett was playing in Key West. And when he was playing down there, he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt, which he normally was wearing at the time. And this little lady walked up to him and said, "You know something, Jimmy? You could sell those. And you could probably make some money selling those shirts." Her name was Sunshine Smith. And he looked at her and he says, "Look, I'll give you half of whatever you can sell those things for." She now owns 5 Margaritavilles across the country.
Wow.
Yes. So she made him a deal that made sense, and at some point in time you can make a couple of hundred a night and then sell merch for 500 a night. It's amazing. So I guess we would call what I do is sort of we're teachers, we're instructors on how to market yourself.
Yeah.
I produce a top 40, and I teach them how to make that top 40 work for them. I produce 2 top 40s, one for our country station and one for our trop rock station. And that top 40, they all ask me, how do I get to number 1? Well, how do you think you get to number 1? You market yourself. You get your fans to get behind it. You listen to it on our radio station, and you get a lot of people to listen to it as well. And also you present a song that is good quality within the genre that hits the mark. And quite frankly, that has taught a lot of artists a lot of how to market themselves. And at that point, we go into merch, we go into social media. Mm-hmm. It's all a transition.
There's so much at our fingertips as artists today that weren't there when you and I came up, in the 70s. In the 70s, you had to go, didn't have to do payola unless you did, but you really had to pound the pavement. You had to get your records made. You had to go out, you had to get 45s. You had to go to radio stations all over the country on the hope that a music director would get it through to his program director, would get it through to his operations manager that would say,
that's right.
Yeah, let's put it on at 8:00 tonight, Like, come on. Not so the case of the band Starbuck, who we're going to hear now featured in the first song. So the song is called Beat Ya Go-Go. Tell us about how that evolved, how you met up with them or they met up with you, and how this song typifies trop rock.
I'll have to say it's an unusual transition from the normal Gulf and Western style that's Jimmy Buffett, isn't it? It is. And I encourage different styles of this type of music. There are almost every style except blues. You won't find blues in this style of music. There's no sad song. There's no sad songs. No sad songs. It's all positive, beachy, palm trees, flip-flops, sand. And this song right here, quite frankly, comes from a different region of the country, from the Gulf Coast or the Keys or the coast of Carolina or Port Aransas in Texas, where normal trop rock comes from. Or normal. What is normal?
Let's go with typical. How about typical?
Typical. Yeah, good idea. Yeah. So this is not your typical tropical Americana song, but is it Americana? I believe it is. Is a song from Italy Americana? Someone asked me that. We've got artists that submit music from every country, country. Yeah. And everybody argues with me. That's not Americana. Listen to it. They're singing about really it's Americana music.
It's so funny. I just started rewatching Amadeus. I don't know if you saw that or not. I saw that movie years ago. And Tom Hulce, who plays Mozart, is talking to the King of Austria about presenting music that typifies German values. Yeah. And he goes, well, what's a German value? He says, love. And the Italian composer says, what was his name? Scaleri or whatever. He says, what? Italians don't know anything about love? He's like, well, not the way you put it out there in opera. I'm like, wow. So that's kind of what you're saying. Like Americana presents certain Americana-ish values.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, I can't wait for you to play this for the folks, because this is a brand new song. It may never have been heard by you're sure your listeners have not heard this song. It came out last week.
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to hear it here. Beat Ya Go-Go on the Music of America podcast.
Gotta know her name. She been go, go, bikini, belly there. Ooh, she lotions up, I say a prayer. I catch my breath, I need some air. Ooh, Lord, I need a Roomba Reba. Shooting stars in a whispering moon, lucky beaming night. Shaking rhythm to some island beats, burning Fahrenheit. She say yes, she say me. Slow motion, ocean, moon by beach. She in my arms, silent speech. She be gone, beach, summertime. Go beach, summertime.
At Starbuck, Beach Go-Go with Harry T, our guest today here on the Music of America podcast. Harry T, the owner, operator of trop rock radio styles and stations. We'll talk to him a little bit more about a couple of other stations that he has. I was talking to a friend of mine about my brother's couple's workbook called 2 Years After Forever. It's sort of like a how-to guide on how to improve your communication skills, which, as anyone in any relationship knows, is crucial. So we spoke later in the conversation. I mentioned the book again. 2 Years After Forever is the name of the book. I told him my brother wrote. Well, she interrupts me. She goes, "Oh, your brother's book. I thought you meant a book you borrowed from your brother." 3 words, my brother's book, 2 interpretations. Well, the book, 2 Years After Forever, in that book, there are exercises that will help you form better communicative skills to avoid pratfalls like that one, along with your partner. Learning and applying these exercises help you get back on track to why 2 years ago you pledged a life together forever. 2 Years After Forever, www.twoyearsafterforever.com, available at Amazon today and forever. Harry T, our guest here on the Music of America podcast, who owns Radio A1A in Florida, plus Cruising Country Radio, plus Paradise Road Radio, plus a YouTube channel. I mean, what don't you do, and do you ever sleep?
Well, can I tell you, I've got a new project called Keys FM.
Keys, like Florida Keys?
It's a AAA station. You can get the app on your iPhone or Android, Key, Keyz FM, and it is AAA. Kind of the music I like. Now, I have a trop rock station, Tropical Americana, Gulf and Western. I have a country station, which is a traditional country station, and I have an inspirational station, Paradise Road Radio. Those 3 stations have one thing in common. Every one of the programmed songs on those stations are by independent singer-songwriters that have submitted music directly to us. Now, the process of receiving songs, since I and the trop jocks across the country that perform for us on these stations, we receive these songs, and some of them turn to be just generally stone country, Yeah. Or they're gospel, or they're AAA, or they're different styles. So, gosh, I kept going. Well, that just doesn't fit. Thank you very much. Now, that caused us first to form Cruising Country Radio, cruisingcountryradio.com. And it's filling up. I mean, it's just amazing the response that we've gotten from that. That country is a huge genre. I had no idea. And that has introduced us to the point where we're going to be a guest at the Bluebird Cafe on the 26th of this month for their 42nd anniversary. Jay Patton is going to have us there with Crystal Gale, T. Graham Brown.
Wow.
Jimmy Hall, who I used to play with Wet Willie down here in Mobile.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually play with Wet Willie, but their band was in my band. You know how that is.
Right. It's fun because we just, the guys I hang out with, we get together about once a month and jam, and we just started playing Everything That You Do. This is one of my favorite Wet Willie
Everything
songs.
That You Do. Yeah.
It's a great Wet Willie song.
Well, Jimmy Hall is known as one of the finest artists in Nashville because he's the musical director for Hank Williams Jr. in the Bama Band.
Well,
He is. And he's probably one of the best vocalists that you've never heard in Nashville. But in any event, that's the stars that'll be at the Bluebird Cafe on the 26th, and I'm going to have a table right up front.
Nice.
I'm very excited. So we're bringing Cruising Country Radio out to the world, and if you have a cruising country type song that's traditional country, not the snap tracks. Come on. You know what I mean?
I'll send you some people that have been on the show. There's some guys that are really, really good. That to me, it goes back to what country used to be.
Yes.
Not to take away from where country music is today.
Right.
But I grew up in, like, my country roots aren't as deep as others. I'm not a Hank Snow guy. I'm more of a John Anderson kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
I came into country music when Don Williams was big. When the Outlaws were just now getting a little more famous, when Urban Cowboy hit the scene.
Right.
I was into country for a couple of years already, so I had that foothold at least. But then I just really got into it after that commercial explosion, and then it kind of lost. I kind of lost it.
You and the songwriters who are in Nashville are all very frustrated because they are thinking that Nashville has become more of a computerized machine, pouring out these songs that are, just cookie cutter type songs and not the original traditional type songs. I named my first daughter Amanda.
Oh, did you really?
From a Don Williams song.
Yep.
So that kind of sound and that kind of style is so simple, and when I would be playing my rock and roll gigs on the way home, I'd play Don Williams in the car, man, so that he would bring me back to the world, and wow. But anyway,
I attribute Chris Stapleton. To him bringing soul. What I say is bring soul back to country music.
Oh man, Chris Stapleton is single-handedly bringing a Southern rock traditional sound back to country music that is I don't know how to describe it, but I'm liking the way a lot of it is heading, and even though Chris Stapleton hasn't sent us any music, Chris, if you're listening, you can.
There we go. And who also would like to see have a rebirth is Ricky Skaggs, or somebody of that ilk, somebody that would make the bluegrass country fiddle side of country music.
Yes,
bring that back in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sure there are people out there. I just don't listen enough because of what we were talking about just a moment ago. What commercial country radio, how it has affected me. I've lost the taste for it. I get better music on this podcast, I think, than I do on commercial radio stations.
Yeah, people ask me, have you heard this new country song? And no, I'm a radio programmer on my radio stations, and you listen to your podcast and I listen to my radio stations. But I've gotten to the point where YouTube, for instance, has become my friend. Really? And I really like, when I'm watching TV, I'll go to the music channels and see what's really happening in YouTube right now in country music. And I find that some of the things that they're doing now is really good, and the people are doing some great videos out there.
Yeah. Tell you what, one of my favorite country videos and one of my favorite fairly contemporary country songs has a great story to it. And I don't know if you've heard this or not, but the song Whiskey Lullaby.
Oh, yes.
All right. So I don't remember who wrote it, but he had his own success as a recording artist. and then he just fell off. They didn't. Whoever didn't renew his contract. He stopped getting gigs. He stopped being headliner. He stopped being, anywhere on the ticket, and just started doing, bars again and stuff. And he's sitting there at the dining room table with his manager, his agent, or whatever, and they're just drinking a bottle of Jack, and the agent says, I just want to just put this bottle to my head and pull the trigger,
Oh, man. Oh, and yes.
From that phrase, they wrote Whiskey Lullaby, and they made more money off writing that one song than he did his entire recording career, man.
Absolutely.
Love that story.
Yes.
All right, so I go down rabbit holes. You have to pull me up. Let's talk about Ship in a Bottle and Johnny Brewer or Donnie Brewer.
Donnie is just he and I met in Key West, right there on Duval Street, about 15 years ago, and he came by and he says, "I'm Donnie Brewer, and I'm going to get it started with this. I'm from Austin, Texas," and he's just one of those kind of guys that's genuinely talented. The Austin sound is unique. And those people at the University of Texas in Austin out there, there's some quite, high-end musicians that come from out there, and he's one of them. He is a virtuoso guitar player, a great songwriter, and a fantastic singer. And he has coordinated, Ship in the Bottle also has a fellow by the name of Manalo, featuring Manalo on there, who is a brand new trop rock artist. Donnie has been around and won every award there is in the Trop Rock Music Association. He is crossing over in other genres as well, country and popular music. And he has a unique way of recording his music. He travels around the country to these events, Parrot Head events, and events all from Mexico to Key West to the Great Lakes to the New England area, in a Winnebago. And inside that Winnebago is a high-quality, state-of-the-art recording studio.
It's amazing.
And as he pulls up next to where these other musicians are, like Manalo, he brings them in there, and they cut these things. So what you're going to hear was cut in a Winnebago.
Well, I'll be darned. Well, the song is called Ship in a Bottle. Our guest, I guess it's Harry T., but he's introducing us to Donnie Brewer and the song Ship in a Bottle, recorded in a Winnebago. Too cool. And you're hearing it here on the Music of America podcast.
I'm a ship in the bottle, can't you see? I'm a ship in the bottle, lost at sea. A tiny ship in the bottle, and all I need is somebody to pop my top and let my spirit free. I got the feet of a gypsy, the grass won't grow. I need to be moving on down the road. I don't want to be tied up, I need to go, go, go. And I don't mean to ride the boat, but I'm a ship in the bottle. Can't you see? I'm a ship in the bottle, lost at sea. A tiny ship in the bottle. And all I need is somebody to pop my top and set my spirit free. So I get carried away, burning the candle at both ends of my friends. I say that ain't the way. I wanna be free like the wind, free to make a change like a Caesar, free living like a rhyme with no reason. I'm bleeding, I'm needing someone to pull me out of the deep end, so I can break out and go with the flow of the waves. Cause I'm a ship in the bottle, can't you see? I'm a ship in the bottle, lost at sea. A tiny ship in the bottle, and all I need is somebody to pop my top, set my spirit free. Let it be, set my spirit free. Let him breathe. Yeah. So, don't get carried away.
running again to have both ends of my friends. I said that ain't the way. You gotta be free like the wind. Free to make a change like a season. Free living like a rhyme with no reason. I'm pleading, you're needing someone to pull you out of the deep end. Let your spirits free. Let your spirit free. Yeah. Let your spirit free. Yeah, yeah. You gotta let it free. Set your spirit free. Let 'em breathe.
A song called Ship in the Bottle, and that's Donnie Brewer. Our guest, though, is Harry T., the host, owner, runner, chief bottle washer, everything from the Cruisin' Country Radio and A1A Radio, and missing one or two. Paradise Radio, did I forget one? No, I'm missing one.
Cruisin' Country Radio, Radio A1A, and Paradise Road Radio. Yeah,
and Keys FM.
Yeah, my new project.
There we go.
All of them are music for the road to paradise.
There we go. We're going to talk about one more song in just a moment. You know, we've all done this. You know, we play this gig, we find the perfect tone we're looking for, and then the club owner walks up and he says, you know what, you're too loud or something. So now you got to change that, what you spent all day trying to achieve, that tone, you know, where you're always in the sweet spot. Well, introducing the Lexi from Landry Amps. Bill Landry and Landry Amps developed the Lexi. It's a 100-watt amp that has at its core a vintage plexi circuit. The Lexi has a rhythm crunch channel, a boosted lead channel, digital reverb, 2 buffered effects loop, depth control, and awesome voicing switch. Has considerably more gain than a plexi does, but at volumes ranging from a whisper all the way to concert level volumes, yet designed to be played at those lower volumes without losing tone. The 2 channels each have their own gain and master volume control, but they share the EQ. It's a really cool concept, and Bill developed this all on his own with his own technology. And you can check out his amp and all of his amps, actually, that he has at LandryAmps.com. Now, he's also got a YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube, look up Landry Amps, and you'll see Bill play through every single amp that he has, find the one that you like most, and then order it through him at LandryAmps.com, www.LandryAmps.com. Our guest is Harry T-Ford. I haven't even said your name yet. I'm just calling you Harry T. Harry T., our guest here. Harry, do you still play?
Well, can I talk about these names? You know, radio sometimes requires that you change your name, right?
Right. Yeah, my first radio gig, it was Tom Mitchell.
Well, there you go. I've had people walk up to my house in the Keys and say, I'm from Texas and I heard you on the radio, and oh, good Lord, and I'm in my drawers, you know. But the first time I changed my name, when I owned a music store, and the local radio guy walked up and says, look, you need a show on the radio. We're WNSP Sports Radio, the ESPN affiliate. 1993 ESPN affiliate. ESPN started when? 91 or something? You know,
88,
this was
88, 86. Something.
Well, this was early in the days. This was one of the first sports local FM talk radio stations.
Yeah.
So you got a good voice, and you got a music store. You could advertise your music store. And we've got 2 shows. We've got an Auburn and we've got an Alabama show. I said, roll Tide. And then he came back 2 days later and says, I got good news and I got bad news. Somebody took the Bama show. And I said, oh, Lord. So I changed my name to I went to my uncle Billy Ray up in North Alabama. And I said, I'm going to be naming my radio personality Billy Ray Flynn, the most Auburn puke name I can find. So I spent 3 years.
Funny.
I spent 3 years on a talk radio show, an FM station, and until the Auburn people caught me and kicked me off. But I also got picked up by the Saints and had a press box seat in the Dome. So
really?
I got turned on to radio. That's when I really found out that I could gab and, talk. And, you know, and I got the press guide from Auburn, and I found out their first coach was Heisman, and, you know, I made a whole big deal out of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot can be done. And by the way, you and I, we're actors, aren't we? We
Absolutely.
We snap on personalities. Now, can an Alabama fan snap on an Auburn personality? I did it for 3 years until one of our sponsors called me at one of the remotes. But it's one of those kind of things that Harry T is my radio voice when I go do anything. Harry Tiford is the business end. Billy Ray Flynn is the sports radio guy.
Right.
And Coin DeBone, he's the bass player now. An old musician named me Coin DeBone.
Coin DeBone. Love it.
So I can go out there and I can play the bass and be crazy and wear my long hair and you know do the thing without bringing in all of my other personalities. So does that mean that I'm nuts? You know, multi-personality? Are we nuts?
Yeah. No, you're never alone with a schizophrenic.
You ain't right.
And you've always got each other. Those are two of my brother's favorite jokes. He's a therapist. It's a funny story. I worked in radio. I was 23 years old, my first radio gig, and my pipes were like this. You know, I haven't trained my voice in a long time, but I used to be like this, you know. Right. I was 23, 24 years old, maybe 25, with my pipes like this, and I weighed about 130 pounds. Skinny, scrawny little kid with this big booming radio voice, right? And it was so funny because I did a late night talk show at this pop rock top 40 station. So we'd be out to eat or something, like go out on a date or something, and people would walk by and I'd be talking like this, you know. People would be stopping, give me a double take, and then somebody every once in a while someone would stop and say, "Hey, is your dad the Sandman?" Because it was my hand, you know, I was Sandman for him, so I was the Sandman. Is your dad the Sandman? No, my dad sells insurance up in St. Louis. I'm like, oh my God, their eyes get big like saucers. Like, it's you,
it's you.
You know, because everybody had me pictured as like being my mid to late 50s, early 60s, big old pot belly, bald head, or a receding hairline or something, and. No, I was just an old hippie, you know, old 70s hippie. So this last song, I love it. I love it. And it's probably playing on Cruising Country, but it's Jeff or Jeffrey Randall, a song called Boatin' Problem. I got a boatin' problem with my drinking friends. Is that what it is? Well,
this one crossed over to both stations, Radio A1A, because it is a boating water song. And it's from Florida. And Jeffrey Randall, he changes his name to that because there's a very famous drummer named Jeff Randall. And if you Google Jeff Randall, you always bring him up. But Jeffrey Randall discovered this music while he was in Nashville and moved to Florida to really write and perform tropical Americana and trop rock music. And he has formed a band. And they travel. We booked them in Panama City, Florida, for about $5,000 for a wedding because Jimmy Buffett has passed away, and now that kind of music is rather popular at weddings.
You betcha.
You betcha. So he's moved into an area where he's making the money and writing the songs, but Boatin' Problem also has a video on YouTube where they go out on a boat and a sandbar, and they have a gigantic party. And the boating problem that they have is that everybody down there has a second home. It's their boat. So parked out in Cape Coral and Fort Myers and Newport Richey, where Jeffrey is from, are these giant boats. And they party. They have raft ups and rendezvous where they party out there, and they get waist deep in this beautiful water. Drink a lot of adult beverages, and they all claim to have a boating problem. And this song, quite frankly, is the epitome of those kind of 50-plus individuals who are retired with enough, you know, substantial resources to do that sort of thing, and they do it with a passion. They love this kind of music. And Jeff Randall he's captured. He is probably going to be winning some awards coming up. Now he's rather new to the genre, so
that's so cool. That's so cool. And you found him. I
kind of found him. Yeah, I guess. I found Donnie Brewer too 15 years ago. This is one of the things. For instance, there's a guy in Texas by the name of Alvy King. He's a basketball coach, and he started sending me these lyrics, about 50 songs a week, lyrics in a text message. I'm going, Alvy, my God. To make a long story short, of the top 40 we have now, Alvy has 12 songs in the top 40.
Oh, wow.
That he wrote. Now, does he sing? Does he play anything? No, but what I'm able to do is to shuffle his songs out to Jeff Randall, some of them, to Brooke Graham in Texas, to all of these individual songwriters. Oh, Beth Travers, who is #1 this week from Nashville. She played at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yep.
It's an Alvy King song.
Well, I'll be darned.
So songwriting is the major emphasis of what we have here. Singer-songwriters, you got to be sounding good singers to be able to have it. It's just, I don't know. So there are some songwriters that just can't sing. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I can sing. I can sing. I just can't write for crap.
Same here. I've tried
writing. And ironically, the other day, I'm just outside noodling around with one of my guitars, and I've been talking a lot lately about cowboy songs that they're just not here anymore. Right. And so I'm playing this melody, and I'm thinking, I brought this up to a country singer a couple of weeks ago, my idea of a song that don't need cowboys no more. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And my girl's sitting next to me, and she goes, that sounds like a cowboy song. I mean, like, I said, well, what do you think of this idea? And she goes, that's kind of what I was thinking. Who needs cowboys anymore? They're just not, they're obsolete. Cowboys songs and cowboys are obsolete. That's exactly where I'm going with this song. So I might be onto something. If I can wake up the muses there and have them talk to me when I'm trying to write.
Well, Jeff calls himself a rusty old flocker, PHLOCKER. He's got an album called Twist of Lime. So he's following this beachy, sandy, palm tree, hammock style music. And in this case, Boating Problem is down that line. But it crossed over because he's got such a country sound.
Right.
So this is the Gulf and Western sound of what we do. Starbuck, the first song today, obviously that's worldwide. Donnie Brewer, that's Texas. That's the Austin sound. And here we have the Nashville sound coming from Florida. So I picked these 3 songs for you so that you could see the different regions from where, and the different styles of this kind of music.
Different flavors of the jambalaya.
Yeah, exactly. Yum.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a listen. Jeffrey Randall. He goes by Jeff or Jeffrey, you said, right? But Jeffrey Randall. And a song called Boating Problem here on the Music of America podcast.
I just set sail across my neighborhood. I got me a lookout and she's looking damn good. Cruising the canals on our way to the Gulf. Yeah, we're meeting up with our crew, and then we're off. I got a cooler full of ice for my rolling rock, putting on the QT, passing the docks. We'll motor out of sight, that's right, wanna anchor by noon, where we be looking like a sailing saloon. Yeah. With a floating problem, we all got second homes and we be floating on a party on the water. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, chug it up that bottom, all the way to the bottom. I got drinking friends with a boating problem. My baby, she be fishing dancing just like I taught her. I brought my guitar to boogie woogie on the water. We all hoist different flags, but we in the same fleet. Oh, ain't we cool out here in the heat? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got drinking friends with a floating problem. We all got second homes and we be floating on them. Party on the water, smoking if you got 'em. Chug it up that box, all the way to the bottom. I got drinking friends with a floating problem. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got drinking friends with a floating problem. We all got second homes and we be floating on them. Party on the water, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Chug it up that box, all the way to the bottom. I got drinking friends with a, I got drinking friends with a, I got drinking friends with a floating problem. That's all we got, folks.
Song called Boatin' Problem with Jeffrey Randall here on the Music America podcast. Our guest, Harry T. And Harry T. features his own unique radio styles, plural, with the new station, KZ FM, with A1A, A1A Radio, A1A in Florida, Cruising Country Radio, Paradise Road Radio, YouTube channel. I can't even get through all this, so I'm going to leave it up to you. We call this segment Shameless Self-Promotion, Harry T. So plug away and tell us how we can find you, listen to you, support you, and promote you.
I would like to ask that all independent singer-songwriters in the tropical, country, inspirational, and AAA world send us your original works. I'd like to ask that you send it in an MP3 form with a square cover photo so that we can tag it. The internet radio business allows us to broadcast a song that is picked up on any smartphone, which is picked up on any automobile, and it displays on the dash of or the display in a car. And that display, if it's tagged properly, will make those displays show the photo, the name of the song, the album, and the artist's name. And all that correctly tagged. If you'll send me that information, then we'll get that on these radio stations and playing all over the world. We have the ability to put music on the air that no one else is brave enough to do because we are not, yes, we ask for our advertisers, and we have some great advertisers. We've got a book that is the Jake Sullivan series by Chip Bell, and that book is each one of his books is named after a Jimmy Buffett song. Come Monday,
Cheeseburgers in Paradise,
Volcano. He has about 16 to 17 volumes. So if you're looking around Amazon, look for the Jake Sullivan series by Chip Bell. And we're also sponsored by the Holiday Inn Express. I stayed at one during our major tour last year, which I'll mention briefly. We have a tour called Follow the Flock.
And that's PH.
PH for Parrot Head. Every year we follow the flock to the National Convention of Parrot Heads. This year it's in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and the years in past it's been in Key West. And many years we've had pit stops that begin in Tampa, St. Pete, Cape Coral. Last year we were at the Florida Cracker up near the Crystal Springs area of Florida. And we've had these pit stops that start about a week or two before. And at each one of these is a major music tour event that features the artist on radio A1A. And this Follow the Flock tour culminates at the convention, either at the main convention site. Last year we culminated at a place called Live Bait in Orange Beach, and we stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, and we had a big time there for an entire week.
Fun.
It was and has been fun for many years. This will be our eighth year touring. And each individual ones of these artists come and they play, and all of the Parrot Head Club presidents come by, and they're kind of auditioning to be hired to play all over the country. Wow. So this brings together more of a tour of musicians than it is the tour of the Parrot Heads themselves. So that is my shameless promotion of our tour, which is in October, the end of October, last week of October. Also is around the same time as the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival, which is at the Floribama. By the way, have you ever heard of the Floribama?
Never have, no.
The Floribama is on the Florida-Alabama line right there on the Gulf, and that's where Jimmy Buffett really first started playing and performing his music in the early 70s down there, and that is the ground zero of what's called Gulf and Western music, or what we do. It's not Key West. You would have
thought it was Key West. I really did. You think parrots, and you're more tropical down there.
The songwriters really go to these conventions and to this area, and that's where they play and do their music. You would think, why do you think songwriters don't live in Key West? Do you know how expensive it is?
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's true.
It's hard to find any musicians that live there.
Now, Harry T., you brought up that you want to get songs and photos from musicians sent to you, but you didn't say where to send them to.
Submissions at a1a.productions. That's plural. Submissions at a1a.productions. If you'll send those songs to that email address, they come to us, and we look at them and then let you know if they can be on the air. And the rest will be history.
And a great history, too. I love it. I love it. I love it. Harry T., our guest, it's a really cool, unique radio style. And you're all over the country now. You're all over every streaming platform, I assume, right? You can catch you anywhere.
Absolutely. And we have a podcast distribution network, A1A Productions Podcasts, and that happens on YouTube, and it happens on every podcast platform. Our YouTube channel is A1A Productions, and that YouTube channel has many subscribers, and there you can see some of our live interviews with artists and all the different genres and all the different radio stations that we do. I do it under A1A so that we can have an interview with an inspirational artist or a country artist or a AAA artist or one of these tropical Americana artists.
There you go.
A1A obviously is a road, is it not? It is a road that begins at the Georgia-Florida line and goes all the way to Key West. But all roads lead to that road to paradise. And all of this is music and entertainment for the road to paradise.
Very cool. Harry T., thank you so much for being on the show. Great fortune, and just love what you've done and what you continue to do. Blessings and thanks for coming on. Now, tomorrow we'll be in Vincent, Alabama. Join us, Joey Culpepper, our guest here on the Music of America podcast. You've been listening to the Music of America podcast. If you like today's show, please go to the website at www.musicofamericapod.com. or our Music of America podcast Facebook page. Like us and follow the show and episodes. We tally the votes of all our shows, and the most listened to shows will be rebroadcast on our best of shows at the end of the season. I look forward to having you with us again and listening to the Music of America.